everyone, and welcome back to another One Bible 1 Year. Today is day 70. We've hit the 70 mark, guys. We are reading chapters 12, 13, and 14, and we might get 15 in. I don't think it'll be too long, but depending, we are going to do a Bible study, and we'll try to make this 20 minutes or less. So let's get started. Chapter 12. Joshua chapter 12. These are the kings east of the Jordan River who had been killed by the Israelites and whose land was taken. Their territory extended from the Arnon gorge of Mount Hermon and included all the lands east of the Jordan Valley. King Sihon of the Amorites, who lived in the Heshbon, was defeated. His kingdom included Aroer in the edge of the Arnon Gorge and extended from the middle of the Arnon Gorge to the Jabbok River, which serves as a border for the Amorites. This territory included the southern half of the territory of Gilead. Sihon also controlled the Jordan Valley and regions in the east from the far north as the Sea of Galilee, as far south as the Dead Sea, including the road to Beth Jeshimoth, and southward to the slopes of Pegisha. So King Og of Bashan, the last of the Rufaites, lived at Ashtaroth at Edrei. He ruled a territory stretching from Mount Hermon to Saleka in the north, and to all the Bashan in the east, and westward to the borders of the kingdoms of Geshur and Mecca. This territory included the northern half of Gilead, as far as the boundary of King Sihon of Heshbon. Moses, the servant of the Lord and Israelite, had destroyed the people of King Sihon and King Og, and Moses gave their land as possession to the tribes of Reuben and Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh. And the following is a list of the kings that Joshua and the Israelite armies defeated on the west side of the Jordan, from Baal-Gad in the valley of Lebanon to Mount Halak, which leads up to Seir. Joshua gave this land to the tribes of Israel as their possession, including the hill country, the western foothills, the Jordan Valley, the mountain slopes, the Judea wilderness, and the Negev. The people who lived in this region were the Hittites, Amorites, Canaanites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, and the Jebusites. These are the kings of Israel that Israel defeated: the king of Jericho, the king of Ai near Bethel, the king of Jerusalem, the king of Hebron, the king of Jarmuth, the king of Lachish, the king of Eglon, the king of Gezer, the king of Debir, the king of Geder, the king of Amorah, the king of Arad, the king of Lebanah, the king of Adulma, the king of Makkedah, the king of Bethel, the king of Tappuah, the king of Hefer, the king of Aphek, the king of Lasharon, the king of Madon, the king of Hazar, the king of Shimron Nemro, the king of Akshaph, the king of Tanak, the king of Megiddo, the king of Kadesh, the king of Joknem in Carmel, the king of Dor in the town of Nephoth Dor, the king of Joim in Gilgal, the king of Tirzah, in all 31 kings defeated. Chapter 13. Then when Joshua was an old man, the Lord said to him, You are growing old, and much land remains to be conquered. This is the territory that remains in all the regions of the Philistines and the Girushites, and the larger territories of the Canaanites, extending from the stream of Shihor to the border of Egypt, northward to the boundary of Ekron. It includes the territory of the 5 Philistine rulers of Gaza, Ashdod, Ashkelon, Gath, and Ekron. The land of the Avites in the south also remains to be conquered. In the north, following area has not been conquered. All the lands of the Canaanites, including Merah, which belongs to the Sidonites, stretching northward to Aphek, in the border of the Amorites, to the land of the Gabadites, or Gebalites, and all the Lebanon mountain area to the east, from Baal-Gad below Mount Hebron to Lebo-Hamath, and all the hill country from Lebanon to Mesarephoth, Maim, including all the land of the Shepho-Spidonians. I myself will drive these people out of the land ahead of the Israelites. So be sure to give this land to Israel as a special possession, just as I have commanded you. Include all this territory as Israel's possession when you do divide this land among the 9 tribes and the half tribe of Manasseh. Half the tribe of Manasseh and the tribes of Reuben and Gad have already received their grants of land and the east side of the Jordan for Moses. The servant of the Lord had previously assigned this land to them. Their territory extends from Aroer on the edge of the Arnon Gorge, including the town in the middle of the gorge, to the plain below, the plain beyond Medea, as far as Dibon. It also includes all the towns of King Sihon of the Amorites, who had reigned in Heshbon, and extended as far as the borders of Ammon. It included Gilead, the territory of the kingdoms of Geshur and Makkah, all of Mount Hebron, all of Bashan as far as the Sakah, and all the territories of King Og of Bashan, who had reigned in Ashtaroth and Ariel. King Og was the last of the Rephites, for Moses had attacked them and driven them out, but the Israelites failed to drive out the people of Geshur and Makkah, so they continued to live among the Israelites to this day. Moses did not assign any allotment of land to the tribe of Levi. Instead, as the Lord had promised them, their allotment came from the offerings burned on the altar to the Lord, the God of Israel. Moses had assigned the following areas to the clans of the tribe of Reuben. Their territory extended from Aroer on the edge of the Arnon Gorge, including the town in the middle of the gorge, to the plain beyond Medeba, that included Heshbon and the other towns in the plain, Dibah, Bamoth, Baal, Beth Baalimenon, Jehaz, Kebimoth, Mephath, Kirithaim, Shibma, Zereth Shifhar, on the hill above the valley, Beth Peor, the slopes of Pisgah, and Beth Jeshimoth. The land of Reuben also included all the towns of the plain and the entire kingdom of Sihon. Sihon was the Amorite king who had reigned in the Heshbon and was killed by Moses, along with the leader of the Midian, Evi, Remek, Rechem, Zer, Hur, and Reba, princesses living in the region who were allied with Sihon. The Israelites had also killed Balaam, son of Beor, who used magic to tell the future. The Jordan River marked the western boundaries for the tribe of Reuben. The towns the towns and their surrounding villages in this area were given as homeland to the clans of the tribe of Reuben. Moses had assigned the following area to the clans of the tribe of Gad. Their territory included Jazer, all the towns of Gilead, and the half of the land of Ammon, as far as the town of Aroer, just west of Rabbah. It extended from Heshbon to Ramath, Mizpeh, and Betonim from the land Manab to Lo Debar. In the valley were Beth-Haram, Beth-Nirah, Succoth, Zaphon, and the rest of the kingdom of the king of Sihon of Heshbon. The western boundary ran along the Jordan River, extended as far north as the tip of the Sea of Galilee. And they turned eastward. The towns and their surrounding villages in this area were given as a homeland to the clans of the tribe of Gad. Moses had assigned the following area to the clans of the half tribe of Messiah. Their territory extended from Mahanaim, including all of Bashan and all the former kingdom of King Og and the 60 towns of Jair and Bashan. It also included half of Gilead and King Og's royal cities of Ashtaroth and Edrei. All this was given to the clans of the descendants of Machri, who was Messiah's son. These are the allotments Moses had made while he was on the plains of Moab across the Jordan River east of Jericho. But Moses gave no allotment of land to the tribe of Levi, for the Lord, the God of Israel, had promised that he himself would be their allotment. Chapter 14. The remaining tribes of Israel received land in Canaan as allotted by Eleazar the priest, Joshua son of Nun, and the tribal leaders. These 9.5 tribes received their grants of land by means of sacred lots in accordance with the Lord's command through Moses. Moses had already given a grant of land to the 2.5 tribes on the east side of the Jordan River, but he had given the Levites no such allotment. The descendants of Joseph had become 2 separate tribes, Messiah and Ephraim, and the Levites were given no land at all, only towns to live in with surrounding pasture lands for their livestock and all their possessions. So the land was distributed in strict accordance with the Lord's commands to Moses. A delegation from the tribe of Judah, led by Caleb son of Jephunneh, the Kenizites, came to Joshua at Gilgal. Caleb said to Joshua, "Remember what the Lord has said to Moses, the man of God, about you and me when we were at Kadesh Barnea. I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land of Canaan. I returned and gave an honest report, but my brothers who went with me frightened the people from entering the promised land. For my part, I wholeheartedly followed the Lord my God. So that day Moses solemnly promised me, 'The land of Canaan on which you were just walking will be your grant of land and that of your descendants forever, because you wholeheartedly followed the Lord my God.' Now, as you can see, the Lord has kept me alive and well, as he promised, for all these 45 years since Moses made this promise. Even while Israel wandered in the wilderness. Today I'm 85 years old. I am as strong now as I was when Moses sent me on that journey, and I can travel and fight as well as I could then. So give me the hill country that the Lord promised me. You will remember that as scouts we found the descendants of Anak living there in great walled towns. But if the Lord is with me, I will drive them out of the land, just as the Lord said." So Joshua blessed Caleb son of Jephunneh and gave Hebron to him as his portion of the land. Hebron still belongs to the descendants of Caleb son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, because he wholeheartedly followed the Lord, the God of Israel. Previously, Hebron had been called Kiriath Arba. So Kiriath Arba, it had been named after Arba, a great hero of the descendants of Anak, and the land had rest from war. Okay, guys, so that was our reading for the day. We did 3 chapters, chapter chapter 12, 13, and 14. So now let's get on to the Bible study. So basically, in these 3 chapters, a lot's happening. The land is so they're basically kind of done with war for a little bit, but they still have to conquer the rest of the land, like is said in chapter 11. There's still a lot to go, even though Joshua is getting older. He says he's still he can still fight as good, and he's still good. It's not like he's losing his touch, but still God only lets them go 120 years, so he's already at 80 something, I believe, because he was 40 years in the wilderness. He was 45 when Moses told the promise, and then 40 years later, so he's about 80, I think, if I did my math right. And so now he's 80, and he only has about 40 more years to live. So in this 40 years, they gotta basically finish up their work and what they have to do, and they have to end up actually taking everything that is theirs, that the Lord gave them. So that's basically what the Lord told him in the chapter 11. But then as we go to 12 and 13, it's a lot of 12 and 13. I was gonna say 14 too, but it's not really in 14. So 12 and 13 were a lot of so 12, 13, and 14. Actually, so it was only basically 13 and a little bit of 14. So 13 and a little bit of 14 was basically dividing up the land. So now that they've defeated all these kings, they've defeated 31 kings with their army. And they're not taking any reinforcements, it's just all by God. And so after that, they're like, okay, we've done this, and now let's separate the land. We've already gotten 2.5 or 1.5 tribes out of the way because of Moses gave a piece of the other side. I don't know if it's the south side of the Jordan, but the other side of the Jordan he gave to half of Messiah, I believe, and then gotta find it. So half the tribe of Messiah. Then he gave it to Gad and Reuben. So those 2 tribes, they have already their allotment of land on the other side of the Jordan River, which I think is in the picture. You could see it. It's next to Libnah and Gezer. I think that black line is the river. So on that side, that's where he already has 2.5 tribes. So now they just have to have the other half of Messiah and then the rest of the other tribes. And so they're basically dividing this, and he's restating all the things that they were divided for Gad, Reuben, Levi, and then half the tribe of Messiah. So basically it's just a recap of what's already been divided and now what they have to divide now. Chapter 14, it was a pretty big part. It was so now Caleb's talking to Joshua, and he's like, let me basically restore or fulfill my destiny, because he's saying, so Moses already blessed me when he was 40. Oh, so it's Caleb that was 40, I believe. Yeah, sorry. So it's Caleb that's 80. So Joshua's already old. I don't know how old he is, but Caleb's 80. And now he's telling Joshua, he's like, so Moses already prayed over me, or blessed him, you could say, that and said that he's going to get the land of the, he said that the man of God was 40 years old, sent me from, so he said he's going to get the land where he scouted, because Caleb was one of the scouts that went on to go scout out the land, and he's the one that found all the big guys, and he's the one, basically the only one, that went wholeheartedly, and because of that he's going to get rewarded through Moses saying that that's going to be his land. So now he's basically just asking for a blessing from Joshua to go and take that land because it's his, and because Moses told him that it was his because of his wholehearted going for God attitude, you could say. So that's basically what happens in chapter 14. and Caleb goes with the blessing, and he takes it, and he ends up just getting the land that's promised, and it's still his to this day, it says. So yeah, a lot happened in these few chapters, but I think we're doing pretty good as far as reading goes. It's 250 pages, 263 pages we've read so far. So be proud of yourselves for that, because it is a lot of reading. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Bye.